Now, first MCQ. A 23-year-old woman delivered a normal infant 2 weeks ago and presently nursing her infant. Now she notices a lump in her right axilla that has increased in size over the past 1 week. On physical examination, the lump is rubbery, mobile, 1.5 centimeter in size beneath the skin at the right inferior axillary line. The lump is excised and the microscopic feature shows there are ducts which are lined by normal cuboidal to columnar epithelium containing secretions. Which of the following hormones most likely to produce the greatest effect on this tissue? Now, important points in this MCQ is age of the women, which is 23 years. Then another important point that she delivered a baby 2 weeks back and presently she's a nursing mother. That is, she's feeding her baby. Now there is a development of lump in the right axilla over the last 1 week. So a nursing mother, 23 years of age, develops a lump in right axilla which has increased in size, of course, while feeding her baby. On physical examination, the lump is rubbery, important point, mobile, 1.5 centimeter in size, and the microscopic examination shows that there are ducts which are lined by normal cuboidal to columnar epithelium containing secretions. The options are cortisol, growth hormone, oxytocin, testosterone, prolactin. Now the hormones which are listed in the options like cortisol, growth hormone and testosterone, they do not produce direct effect on the tissue involved in this case. Now if you notice the site of the mobile lump, it is present in the axilla where there is accessory breast tissue. Secretion of prolactin, which is increased after delivery or postpartum, acts on the breast tissue to support the production of milk in the lobules. The only hormone in the list is oxytocin, which causes the contraction of the myoepithelial cells. So the answer is prolactin. Now the next MCQ is a 26-year-old woman is breastfeeding her infant for the last 4 weeks after giving birth to a normal full-term infant. She notices fissures in the skin around the left nipple. After 3 days, a 5 centimeter area near the nipple becomes erythematous and tender. Purulent discharge from a small abscess drains through a fissure. Which of the following organism is most likely to be cultured from the exudate? The options are Staphylococcus aureus, Lactobacillus acidophilus, Listeria monocytogenes, Candida albicans, Viridin streptococci. Now again important points. A young woman who is nursing her baby and she notices fissures around her nipple. Afterwards, there is a 5 centimeter area near the nipple which becomes erythematous and tender. Purulent exudate from a small abscess drains through a fissure. Now the presence of fissures are important, and then a 5 centimeter area around the nipple which is red and tender. Again, a signs of acute inflammation. So the organism is causing acute inflammation, and then a small abscess drains through a fissure and a purulent exudate comes out from that fissure. Now, if you remember the last video, Staphylococcus aureus causes localized mastitis and leads to abscess formation, whereas streptococcal infections spread throughout the breast because streptococci produce streptolysines. Acute mastitis can be caused by Candida albicans, but more commonly in normal persons there is only local skin irritation, but it can cause mastitis in only immunocompromised patients. Lactobacillus is an organism used to produce fermented non-human milk. Similarly, infection by listeria can spread by contaminated food, including milk products, but not human milk. So the answer is Staphylococcus aureus, which causes localized abscess formation. Now the question number 3. A 25-year-old woman sustained a traumatic blow to her right breast. Initially, there was a 2.5 centimeter contusion beneath the skin that resolved within 3 weeks, but then she has left with a firm, painless lump that persisted below the site of trauma 1 month later. What is the most likely diagnosis for this lump? Option A, abscess. Option B, fat necrosis. Option C, fibroadenoma. Option D, inflammatory carcinoma. Option E, sclerosing adenosis. Now, points to be noted in this MCQ is the lady is 25 years of age, that is a young lady, sustained a traumatic blow on her right breast, so trauma is received on her right breast, followed by contusion, and later on she felt a firm, important point, painless, another important point, lump that persisted below at the site of trauma 1 month later. Option E is sclerosing adenosis, which is a feature of fibrocystic disease, produces lump in the breasts which are non-traumatic. Inflammatory carcinomas are points towards red to orange coloration of the skin due to invasion of the carcinoma to dermal lymphatics. So we rule out inflammatory carcinoma, which is less commonly seen in a younger female, and moreover, there is no red to orange coloration of the skin and no roughness of the skin. The other option is fibroadenoma, which is a benign neoplasm but not induced by trauma, as it is written in the MCQ that after a traumatic blow, she developed painless lump below the site of trauma 1 month after the occurrence of trauma. In fat necrosis, mostly in breast, the cause is traumatic. The damaged fat tissue, which is necrotic, is taken up by the macrophages. The lesion resolves as a collagenous scar within weeks to months. The firm scar, mammographically or on palpation, simulates carcinoma. Regarding the abscess formation, mostly the lump is painful and tender and caused by Staphylococcus aureus. Now the fourth MCQ, a study of mammographic findings on women of reproductive years is performed. The study identifies mammograms showing 1 to 5 centimeter cysts with focal microcalcification and surrounding densities. Fine needle aspiration showed turbid fluid with few cells. Which of the following microscopic changes is most likely to be present in these lesions? Option A, apocrine metaplasia. Option B, ductal carcinoma in situ. Option C, fat necrosis. Option D, papillomatosis. Option E, sclerosing adenosis. Now, referring to my first video regarding histology of breast, there are certain metaplastic changes which are seen in the cyst of the breast. So, apocrine metaplasia is the answer because non-proliferative cysts are quite common in the breast. When they are filled with fluid, they unlikely to contain proliferative elements. The cells lining these cysts may be flattened or atrophic, but often have abundant cytoplasm which is eosinophilic and resemble apocrine change. Regarding microcalcifications, they can be seen both in benign and malignant breast lesions, but in cases of cyst, they represent calcified secretions. If the cyst is excised in toto, then it has blue to brown color. Ductal carcinoma are likely to be solid masses. Fat necrosis may contain macrophages but also connective tissue producing a firm lesion. Papillomatosis is a proliferative lesion in fibrocystic changes that tend to form solid lesions. Sclerosing adenosis also produces firm fibrous lesions. So the answer is apocrine metaplasia. There is an MCQ which I have already discussed with you. Now the question can be asked in this way. A 30-year-old woman has noticed a palpably firm irregular mass in her right breast for the past 3 months. On physical examination, there is no tenderness or swelling. By mammography, there is an irregular 2 centimeter density that contains scattered microcalcification. Biopsy of this mass reveals extensive fat necrosis. Which of the following is the most likely cause for this breast lesion? Now it should be very simple to you people. Anybody can answer that. Options are pregnancy, polycystinoma, trauma, fibrocystic changes, lobular carcinoma in situ, and mastitis. I've discussed this MCQ with separate scenario. Now again, the important thing is the age of the patient. The mass is firm, irregular. Duration of the mass is 3 months. There is no tenderness of swelling. And then histological features are given, that is extensive fat necrosis. So in the presence of trauma, amongst the options for fat necrosis in the breast in a young female, you should not consider any other cause because trauma is the most important cause. Another MCQ which I have already discussed with you, but now it is asked in a different way. A 30-year-old woman notices a lump in her left breast. The lump remains through 2 menstrual cycles without change in size. A screening ultrasound examination is performed and there is a 1.5 centimeter fluid-filled cyst within the inner quadrant of the left breast. Fine needle aspiration is performed and clear fluid and some cells are obtained. A year later, there is no palpable lump. Which of the following cells were most likely present in her breast lesion? Option A, atypical ductal epithelial cells, fibroblasts, lobular carcinoma cells, metaplastic apocrine cells, neutrophils, small mature lymphocytes. Now, I've already discussed this question with you in the first 4 MCQs, but the scenario is different in this case. However, if you concentrate that there's a young female who has got a lump which is a cyst-filled fluid, and there is a 1.5 centimeter fluid cyst, and when the fluid is aspirated, there are cells, and we have to tell the nature of the cells. Now, please keep it in mind that the cysts are lined with mostly flattened epithelium, but there are cells which show apocrine change. So answer is metaplastic apocrine cells, which is a common change seen in the cystic cells. If you concentrate my first 4 MCQs and also on the video of histology of breast. Another MCQ, which is the different one. A 15-year-old healthy girl of normal height and weight for age is concerned because her right breast has developed to twice the size of her left breast since the onset of puberty at age 12. On physical examination, both breasts have a similar consistency on palpation with no lumps, and there is no tenderness. The nipples and areolae are normal looking. Which of the following is the most likely cause for these findings? Now, if you have seen my video on pathology of breast part 1 and you have seen the anomalies of breast, you can answer this very easily. That is, cystosarcoma phalloides, it cannot be possible at this age. Adrenogenital syndrome is comparatively unlikely. Fibrocystic change, uncommon. Ductal carcinoma in situ, present with lump. Fibrocystic change may show a lump, whereas virginal hypertrophy is seen before the age of 16 and there is no lump in this case. The nipples and areola are normal looking. Now another MCQ, a 19-year-old woman gave birth to a healthy male infant at term following an uncomplicated pregnancy. She has now been breastfeeding the baby for a month, but notices that her left breast has gradually become swollen and painful to touch over the past week. On physical examination, her temperature is 38.2 degrees centigrade, slightly raised. Which of the following is the most likely diagnosis? Again, it should be very, very simple for you. Young age, nursing mother, and feeding her baby. There is increased tenderness of the breast. The breast is painful to touch and swollen. And what could be the cause? Fibrocystic disease unlikely, no history of trauma, so fat necrosis rule out. There is no discharge from the nipple, so intraductal papilloma can be ruled out. There is no mass or no swelling in the breast, so galactosele is ruled out. So presence of acute mastitis is ultimately the answer because she's a nursing mother and acute mastitis develops due to the presence of cracks in the areola and nipple, and then there is the infecting organisms like Staphylococcus aureus or Streptococci species can enter the breast tissue and cause mastitis.